Hello there, friends. Today is March 5th, 2024, and today we're asking the question, what is this card worth? We're considering the CJ Stroud rookie card from the 2023 Panini Football Prizm set, card number 339. There are a ton of parallels to this card, so we're actually going to be discussing the valuation of 6 different versions of this card. Make sense? Easy peasy. Now, first, we need to take a few minutes to discuss what this whole chart means. And I know, just bear with me because it's going to make understanding the valuation of the subsequent cards that much easier. We have here a collection of 15 of the most recent eBay auction sales that I could find. This is how I do my comps. A lot of people take 3 or the most recent or 5. I like to go all the way to 15 because then I believe I get a more accurate depiction of what the market is demanding. Also, I only take into account auctions, as in bids to win. Now, I know there are buy it now options and best offer options, and those are great. However, I want cards that people are fighting over. I want to see that demand so I can understand how to balance out the supply, if that makes sense. I get it. Buy it nows also reflect current market. I know that. You go into a store and people pay for their personal collection favorites, and they probably pay too much. I want to know what people are fighting for in general. So that's why I only do auctions. Now we've got blue, orange, red, yellow, and green. These are the most important numbers on this chart to consider. We'll go over them real quick here. So blue is going to be the average bid price somebody had to make in order to win the auction. So half the people basically spent less than this and half spent more on average. So $23.22 is the average bid price to win this base card. Shipping's included. That's your average shipping, $3.58. As you can see, we're anywhere from 99 cents all the way up to $7 in shipping. And then total is your average out the door price in order to get your hands on this card at your front door through eBay. Now, are any of these the numbers that I think this card is worth? Most certainly not. This blue does not take into consideration that the sellers have fees that they must pay, which average between about 13 and 15%. So that is what this orange number is. This is the take home for the sellers. So on average, a seller made $19.84 through selling their card on eBay. Not too shabby, right? But that's not where I like to get in. Yes, it is probably the average price. It's probably a fair valuation, right around $20 for this card. But I like to get in a little bit lower, as do most avid car collectors. So green, yellow, red are numbers to consider. Green is a 70% price point of the blue, okay? So $23.22 times 70% is $16.25. Think of this as a stoplight. Green, yellow, red. Go, slow, stop. So green, that's my first offer usually, and I think that's a pretty competitive offer when you consider that buy it nows are not included in the blue price. Yellow is where I usually start to slow down. That's a 75%, and 80% is usually my hard stop. I know sellers and buyers have a very interesting little dance they have to go through, but these are the 3 numbers that I consider most. Now, there's one more number that I usually like to incorporate, and that's why I chart these up. I like to get into the bottom third of sales, which means I'm going to sort this column ascending, and I'm going to drop down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $17.92. If I can get this card for anything less than that, that means I'm in the bottom third of sales and likely still have some value to make in when I sell this card, right? So that falls right between yellow and red. So for me, the hard stop really is not $18.50 on this card. It's going to be $17.92. If I want to sell this card, I like to get into the top third of those. So I'm going to sort descending now, and we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $20.95 and above gets me into the top third of sales as far as in person is concerned. If I wanted to sell it through eBay, I would have to basically do a buy it now or a minimum bid of $24.50. I know, a lot of explanation, but again, this will make it easier for every other card that we see. So for me, my hard stop right around $18 or $17.92, I believe it was. That's where I like to get in on it. Fair value is probably around $19.84. And if you want to buy it on eBay, you're looking at average $23.22. Simple, okay? Now, let's go back down here. We also have our graph here. And as you can see, as is typical with many of these newer cards that are out there, we've got big price swings. People are jumping on board and at very different price points. This person, $35, spent quite a bit of money for this card in its raw format. $15 is our low, $35 is our high, but somebody's paying right around $40 in order to get that. Basically 100% price swing on average from the low to the high, okay? So next, we have the red, white, and blue. I love this card. I think that patriotic pull, especially when it comes to football collectors and football fans, is an important thing. This card on average is taking a $152.02 average bid. That means sellers are taking home $131.58. Green, yellow, red. 106 is my first offer. 114 is my second. 121 is my hard stop in person. And let's consider our bottom third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like $100 basically gets you in on the bottom third, which, man, oh man, what we're seeing here is, yes, some people definitely spent a lot of money on the high end. That tells me that I might be able to get closer to this red because there's a lot more interest in this higher end of the equation. However, getting in at that $100 price point means that I could probably get closer to that 70% offer if I use these statistics in person. So I'm going to say 114 is my hard stop on this card just because I can see some valuation in people who are jumping in at a higher price point. Let's see what the sort descending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 153 gets me in the top third of sales in person, or 177.50. That leaves me quite a bit of margin on this card, which is very, very interesting. Quite a bit of margin in order to make some money off this card. So this is definitely on a hit list for me as far as potential targets, trying to get in on the low and sell on the high. And let's undo those. So as you can see, we do have those massive outliers in the graph. I like to graph it up because this shows you those real swings. Numbers are fine, but you can really see that this is a super volatile card. If you can get your hands on it in that $100 price point, very nice job. All right, CJ Stroud pink, right around the same price point, it looks like, 128 on average, 111 for the orange. So sellers are taking home right around $110. 90 for the green, 96 for the yellow, 103 hard stop. And let's look at our wrong button. Here, we're going there. Let's sort ascending here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $89.92 gets us in the bottom third. So we're seeing a trend with this card so far as the parallels are concerned, and that is the volatility is keeping our bottom third of sales even lower than our 70% price point. That is a very interesting note because it makes me think that I can certainly take advantage of those price swings and make some extra money. So I'd probably hard stop at that $96 price point at the very most. I'd love to get in on that green. I think you certainly can get in on that green. Let's drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 126 in person to get some value out of your card, or 146.50 on auction in order to make a nice chunk of change. You'll probably be bringing home right around $20 or $25 if you can get in at a lower price point, right in between that yellow and red. Not too shabby. So far red, white, and blue, and the pink are very, very intriguing to me. Let's undo those and look at our massive roller coaster that we're working with on this one. Again, we have basically a 100% price swing from high to low, even more so because that $76, somebody really snuck a deal. People were not paying attention to that auction, that's for sure. But on average, about 100% price swing. This is what happens with current year cards or recent cards, is that price swing just doesn't mellow out for a little bit at least. You look back, you look back at a 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, right? Upper Deck. That PSA 10 or whatever, they're very, very static across the board. You're not going to see much variation because the market has settled out the volatility, but they haven't really settled out any volatility within the market as of yet. Let's talk about the next one, my least favorite card. I hate the green wave. I hate all the waves in Prizm. I really do. I think they're ugly, and I don't think they're as vibrant as they want to be. I don't like the way it looks all fuzzy. I don't know. It's just a personal thing for me. So in the end, I'm not collecting any of these. It doesn't matter what the price point is. This is maybe if I want to turn and burn a card, but this is not making it into a long-term hold for me just because I think it's so ugly. And I think you have to take into consideration the beauty of a card as far as its long-term value is concerned. So it is, though, priced out higher, of course, than the previous two. 156.89 is your blue. We've got 135 take-home on average. Green is going to be 109. Yellow is 117, 125. Top third or bottom third in sales. See where our hard stop is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's falling in above the red, in fact. So this one will probably have less volatility to it, and I'll actually have less of an opportunity to make a few dollar bills. So hard stop is going to have to be 125 on this card. But for me, like I said, I think it's an ugly card. And so for me, in order to find any value on it, I need to be between green and yellow at the very, very most. Again, beauty of a card, take that into consideration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 145 gets us into the top third of sales, or 167.50 on auction through eBay will get you in the top third of sales. You could probably net yourself about $20 if you get in on that red, and I think that's doable. Like I said, I'm just concerned about the long-term viability of these cards. Not my favorite. All right, let's see here. Our graph, again, you're seeing that less volatility that we talked about. So this is why the bottom third of sales was higher than the red. You're not going to see that crazy swing. Even though you are seeing still about 100% price swing, you're not seeing as dynamic of a change in that graph. Orange Lazer, I love this card. Not quite as much as the red, white, and blue, and I don't know why I like this one more than the wave. I guess I'm an orange fan. I'll be honest with you. I love orange. So blue 138.28, so less than that green wave. 120 or so is what sellers are taking home. 96 is my entry. 103 is my slow. 110 is my stop so far until we consider bottom third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 112, so we're still above that hard stop at 112 to get in at the bottom third. So that means we're, again, probably experiencing less volatility with this card. So 110 is probably a hard stop. Let's look at sort descending. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 129. Okay. So you can pull a $20 swing on this card at 150 in auction, 129 in person, and do a hard stop at 110. That's all right. Might not be worth the effort. Again, where we've got that harder or less volatility. Look at this. Pretty consistent. Beautiful graph there. This card's acting like it's a 15-year-old card right now as far as supply and demand. Nice tight supply and demand. Beautiful card. Okay. 110 entry, get in on that. I think this card has some stability that is worth considering, right? Silver, our last card here. This is definitely the big boy. I think silver, of course, is the most beautiful, and it also happens to be the priciest. I think the beauty of these cards definitely has an impact upon its sales, and we're seeing stability in the silver long term in general for this type of set. Blue, $295.26 is what people on average paid for this card. Kind of crazy. This is ungraded. What what a price point. Orange, $255 is what people are taking home. 206 entry, 221 slowdown, 236 stop. And let's consider our ascending again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 229. So that falls right between the yellow and the red, which means we probably have a little more volatility than the previous two. So I would actually say that 221 would be my hard stop on this card. I want to stop at yellow, 75% price point, because we're probably seeing a lot of, we've got a super high-end sale or two that's kind of skewing the market just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 264 would be your in-person sale price. 305 on auction through eBay would be what you would need in order to swing about a 10 to 15% profit margin on the card. So again, very cool card. I like this card, especially if I'm considering long-term stability. I think this card's going to be more in demand than the ones above. So that's my true value on that. So let's look at the graph just to sort of see. Yeah, you can see we definitely got skewed by a few high ones, but overall, pretty stable market for it, with that exception of that 435. Just a little bit under a 100% price swing from low to high, which means that this card is stabilizing quite nicely. So there you have it. As far as the card that I would personally be liking to focus upon, it's probably going to be the orange for looks, and the stability is quite nice. You can probably consistently, if you can get in on the low end, you can probably consistently make a bit of money on the high end. Green, definitely not. We're not doing that. I like the pink. It's not great in my opinion. And I like the red, white, and blue. I like the patriotic nature of it. Again, we're seeing those huge, massive price fluctuations, which have kind of changed things a little bit for me. But I like the patriotic pull for it. I think a lot of football fans appreciate that as well. So there you have it. I know, long-winded session, but hopefully that shed a little bit of light on the valuation of these 6 different CJ Stroud rookie cards. Took a lot of work to put these charts up together, but I hope they're useful for you as well. So take care, my friends.